Boom! I'm live. Welcome. This is welcome to 2018. This is Tokyo Tonight 2. I am Hiko Simon. Stupid and unstable, I guess. Good to see you, 2018. Good to see you, Mr. Cordy Chep. Welcome. Congratulations on the inappropriate haircut, which will make you instantly more successful and attractive to other people. And yeah, they're pretty much going to make you president of the company. It's going to be just a roller coaster ride from now on, and good luck with that. Give me a break, man. Happy New Year. Good to see you, man. Good to see you back. Now that I am back in Japan, I was away in Australia, of course. Let me pin this forward a little bit. And who else we got? We've got Tai Nakamura. Good to see Tai Nakamura. Happy New Year. Phoenix 787. I will mention this again at the end of the track, but I said track because I saw Tai Nakamura talking about mastering a new track. I cannot wait to hear a new track from you. I've got a few loops actually that I thought I might make some more tracks while I was on vacation, but I did not do that. Let me go and skip ad, pause that video so you don't hear that back. I've got a few myself actually, which I'm going to put on here. I'll mention at the end of this video, but we are already planning the 2018 YouTube Hanami. Frankly, you can't really tell when it's going to be until a week before, and we never used to announce it until we knew when it would be. But people have been there's been a bit of an arms race of predicting the Hanami like months and months out, and it looks like that's what's been happening for the last few years. So rather than fight that, Victor, Zach, and I'll put in my own token effort to support, are in the process of announcing the Hanami, which will probably be around the first week of April, I believe. That's when they always go for. That's typically when it is. It might be wrong. Hopefully there'll be some ability to be flexible at the last minute if it's wrong, but it will be pretty good. And Zach, who has been really the hero, going out organizing early in the morning and so on the last few years, he's going to be I think the main action man on it. Victor's going to be the promoting kingpin, and I will be the barely adequate assistant pretty much in it all. But thank you very much, Zach, once again for organising. You and the Tokyo Maniacs have done a great job in the last few years, and yeah, it's good to see Victor getting back involved in this as well. Get Crawford, first time watching from Japan. Congratulations, and good to have you here in Japan. Where are you? Are you in Tokyo? Hey, Lara's here. Good to see you, Lara. Happy New Year. Good to see Barringer as well. Kang and Kodos. Oh wow, everybody's come in the room. World Traveller. I assume that's Peking. Good to see you. Hello indeed. Good to see everyone here. Damn, trying to save money to go to Hanami. Yeah, man, you got to come here. Well, believe me, it'll be last week of. Oh, it'll be the last week of March or the first week of April, most likely. I'm guessing the first week of April. We've had a bit of an HDMI capture outage here. Let me see if I can. There we go. Get that back. Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody. Good to see everybody coming back in. And Victor says no. What is no, Victor? Is it not the first week of April? I said it's the first week of April. Well, you know, but seriously, if it's going to be over by then, we should probably reschedule it to the last week of March anyway. And certainly, if you're planning a trip here, come here around that last week of March, just so that you can make sure that you capture it. But like I said, I think it's going to be probably the first week of April. So there we go, first weekend of April. Victor is saying. Well, there, so I was right, the first week of April, exactly like I said. April 7th, yes. Yeah, it kind of sucks being in Tokyo when people plan Hanamis from outside, which means that we have to have it even if it's not actually Hanami, because no one does. Hanami sucks if there's no flowers. It's just cold and miserable. But, yes. Relaxed attitudes. Well, you guys wouldn't do Hanami if you didn't have Hanami, right? But we're forced to do it to accommodate out-of-towners. But that's how it is. So, yes, everybody come. Goddamn Kiwis with our relaxed attitudes. Well, yes, that's right. And I don't give a shit. So, topics for tonight. I suppose there's been a few dramas going on. There's been maybe the one, and you know, I'm not sure I have a link in here for it, so maybe the first one I will mention is the blackface drama that is going on. In case you didn't know, you know, so Downtown, the first Japanese comedy group I ever saw, I ever laughed at. They've always been kind of punks. They've always been kind of edgy. You know, it's always been the sort of style. They were kicked out of all the traditional Manzai troops in Osaka because, you know, they kind of were a little bit out there, and they put content out which really, even in Japanese, you know, has always been a little bit sometimes on the edge of acceptability. They did a parody of Beverly Hills Cop, and they thought it would be a good idea for the straight man of the two, Hamada, to darken his face and do an impression of Eddie Murphy. Rightly, again, huge cultural sensitivity and history associated with the imitation of black people by non-black people, blackface, and the hurt and offense that it causes. There's always this kind of tension between, even in America, not just outside of America, certainly outside of America, you have this thing where, you know, if people didn't intend it to be racist, then, you know, surely they should be allowed to do it, because the idea of a crime, you know, is two things. It's the actus reus and the mens rea. It's the intention and the actual act of doing it. And, you know, it's not an actual crime. You know, you can be excused from a crime like punching someone in the face if you didn't do it on purpose. And they'll always say, well, I didn't mean to do it on purpose. But, you know, this is one of those things that if you should have known, or in a more extended world, even if you didn't know, you know, ignorance isn't always a defense anymore, especially where, you know, in this day and age, there's enough information out there to know that it is offensive and it is harmful to a lot of people. And, you know, this blackface thing, again, this has come up multiple times now. So I guess the excuse that people have in Japan of saying, oh, we had no way of knowing, is gone. And the excuse that was always given before was that, well, that's American history, not Japanese history. You know, we're not intending it the same way as a racist American person. It's just pure imitation, like we imitate everything. I've kind of said that, but, you know, they'd also plead ignorance, and now they can't really say ignorance anymore, so, and they're doing it again. It's good to see the Bae's post on this, really trying to shed a light and get a discussion on it going, just to get some understanding. It was the top post on Yahoo for a couple of days. It's triggered an extended discussion. It's made the New York Times and BBC. And right now there is a big discussion going on. There are lots of really high rating blogs on Hatina and a few of the big bookmarking sites talking about this. And yeah, you know, it's some people saying, you know, yeah, we shouldn't do this. We should understand the offense that it causes. Other people saying, you know, why are we bearing the burden of America's racism? You know, we're not racist. America is. Why are you treating us by American standards? You know, you get both sides of the debate, and a lot of people are putting up some defenses of blackface. The most interesting one I actually saw was yesterday, where they pointed out, so if it's racist for a Japanese person to do a racial impersonation, you know, an impersonation of Eddie Murphy, what about the movie Norbit, or all the movies that Eddie Murphy does where he makes himself up as stereotypes of other races, including in the movie Norbit, where he made himself up as a somewhat racist impersonation of an Asian person. Is that okay? And I thought that was actually an interesting point. You know, that said, however, doesn't, you know, excuse, well, what Hamada didn't, he should have known better, and if he didn't, he probably will know now. And fact is, even if you disagree with whether you should be allowed to do this or you shouldn't be allowed to do this, certainly anyone who does this in future is going to know that they're going to have a world of pain around this if this happens again. And Bae is there. Good to see you, Bae. So it's a bit like I was saying to Bae. I think what he's done is he's given people, you can't unsee offense. You know, once you've given it, even if you feel like you shouldn't be offended or whatever, the next time people think they're going to start blacking up their faces to do this, they're going to think, well, I'm going to get complaints about this. And even if I disagree with all of those complaints, even if I think Eddie Murphy himself was a racist and I should be able to do it if he could do it, like some people are suggesting, or other people saying, well, Japan didn't have slavery and Japan didn't have minstrel shows or whatever, and that's they're imposing their cultural paradigms upon us. Even if you think all of that, you still know that you're going to get a world of shit for this. and that people are going to be upset even if you think that they're not entitled to. So even the people who disagree, you know, it's going to give them pause basically. And people are going to be that little bit more reluctant even if they disagree with it, because, you know, they're going to have to think about it. And that in itself is kind of a victory. You can't really unsee these things. You're not going to ignorantly do these things anymore, and that's frankly just how it sort of has become uncool to do in the West. So yeah, kudos to Bayek, who was there in the comments on raising the issue and making people aware. And yeah, I'm using a white man's argument because a white man is in the position of power. You check out the guns. Power right there. Not really. So I don't know, I find it interesting anyway. And the point is, yeah, again, you're giving people the ability to, you know, see something. It's like being able to detect cultural sensitivity. I mean, by definition, sensitivity is an awareness. It's being conscious or sensitive to something. If you're not sensitive to it before and you become sensitive to it, even if you disagree with it, you can't not be sensitive to it anymore. So it is kind of interesting. There's all these steps that I think are working towards, you know, having a real impact. So congrats to Baye on that, and it's really interesting to see the continued discussion. And both ways. I think it's good to discuss it both ways and to consider it, you know. And to tell you the truth, I mean, I'm not 100% there myself. You know, when I watch The Distinguished Gentleman, when I watch any Eddie Murphy movie where he did a lot of impressions or whatever, and sometimes, you know, you can see people could be a bit put out by his impersonations of white people or Jewish people, or, you know, the barbershop sort of things that they have, but generally they're funny. You know that they're not malicious. They're sort of, you know, I can sort of look past that. I can look past an impersonation of a black person. I could do that. I probably wouldn't be calling up and complaining about the Hamada thing. But the fact is that some people if people are hurt by it, and that's a predictable outcome, well, it's the same as doing it on purpose, frankly, if you know that that's going to happen. So that was an interesting one. What else we got here? Rightly so. Eddie was attacked by Asians when he did that. Rightly so. Well, it's an interesting one by him because, you know, in his movies, I mean, that's one of, like, Eddie Murphy's trademarks, was he does these very entertaining and, you know, some would say quite well done racial impersonations himself. He does them all the time. And I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I would never do it because I just know for a start, I know the world of shit that it unloads, and I know the hurt that it causes. So, you know, if you know that, you wouldn't do it. I think that's what it comes down to. No, I don't have good guns at all. And Kimmy Kim, good to see you. So, yes, let's get back into the topics. I don't really have a lot. It's kind of quiet around the end of the year, and I've got I've made a bunch of loops, which I've made into tracks. So I might ask you guys which loops you like best at the end of all of this. Yes, we have band class. Sorry, I've enjoyed the banter in the comments. They're a little bit there's a fantastic thing there which you could check out. It's a Korean music class where they gave them all electronic instruments like a drum machine, keyboards and stuff, and they made a Daft Punk cover, and it's really, really good, and a vocoder. And I'm just like, that's what music class should be. I mean, you know, geez, tambourines and recorders and shit. Give them electronic instruments. They can make incredibly cool stuff, like these 4th graders or whatever. In Korea, yeah, that was so good. I mean, I wish I had electronic music lessons. And you can do just amazing, amazing stuff. Give them sequences and keyboards and stuff like that. Seriously, I thought that was really, really awesome. Black Mirror, I watched Black Mirror. I see some people who don't like Black Mirror. They feel like it's not as edgy as it used to be. I think it's great. Again, I don't want to give it too many spoilers away. I suppose if there was something that I was missing a little bit, is it felt like they were sort of rehashing dark scenarios of technologies that were sometimes already predicted in the earlier series, in the earlier episodes, where I kind of like seeing them coming up with new ideas of new technologies, which they had as well. I don't know, I still think I agree that there's a lot more that they could have done, but I think that they were very smart with what they did. Yes, you know, I don't know, it's gotten predictable. I suppose I was a little surprised in the fact that most of the Black Mirror episodes on the earlier seasons were so dark and the endings were almost universally negative endings. I was surprised by the endings. The writing, I agree, was maybe a little bit softer, but I still think they had the really interesting themes and it was still thought-provoking. So, yes. I've got a video here from Kira Ashley, who was actually in my favorite place. If I was going to buy a house outside of Japan, I'd probably buy it where she lives. She outside of Japan, she lives in a town called Coolangatta, which is the south of Gold Coast, in southeast Queensland. It's got my favorite surf spot in the world where I used to drive. Everyone goes to Surfers Paradise and Gold Coast for surfing from Brisbane. It's about an hour's drive. I always drive an extra half hour, 40 minutes extra to go to the better beaches, which are further south. And I took some photos and some people. I took my son down there, had a great time when I was in Australia for 2 weeks. It was beautiful down there, by the way. Not too hot. It was like 31 degrees, 30 degrees every day, sunny. Went down there, went to my favorite beach, and I found out she had been there just before me, and she'd actually posted a video of that beach in the very start of that video I think I've got there. So check that out and subscribe to her. She's an Aussie model, I believe, doing very well, it seems, in Japan, and going back and forth. And she's a legitimate J-vlogger. So yeah, plus she just happens to live in a really cool place. And this is the thing with the difference between New Zealanders and Australians. I explain this to people. I've explained this before. The reason that Australians can sometimes come across a bit, as we would say, as yobbos when they travel, you know, it can be a bit loud and raucous and kind of don't give a shit and kind of yeah to everybody, and you know, they can kind of come across badly to people when they're traveling. And New Zealanders, we believe we have this thing about travelling better. You know, we try to make sure that we don't get mistaken for Australians. And the reason isn't that there's anything better about New Zealand or worse about it. In fact, it's quite the opposite. What it comes down to, and this video proves it perfectly, if you're an Australian and you are arrested for climbing a flagpole naked and setting the flag on fire and, you know, drinking too many beers and falling and spewing on a police officer, the very worst thing that can happen to you is they will send you back to the best country in the world, the best lifestyle in the world. Your worst case scenario is being sent to the country with the best lifestyle in the world. There, Australia. New Zealanders, the worst case scenario is getting sent back to New Zealand. You have no idea how motivating that is to be well behaved. I don't want to go back. I mean, it's a nice country, sure, Lord of the Rings, yay, I mean, you know, all that stuff, but seriously, I have, you know, better things to do with my life than become a hobbit, or herd sheep, or do other things with sheep. I'm just going to stay here, okay? I'm sorry, officer, please, I apologize. Pretty much how it goes. Hey dude, Jericho, good to see you. License to 45, also good to see you in there. And yes, The Crown. My mum was watching The Crown, and so was Victor, and they both seem to like the Queen. Good on you. I actually saw a couple of episodes of The Crown, and I must say it was surprisingly interesting, given that I would never watch that on my own, but I did actually find it quite interesting. It was well done. So there we go. Travis Moore, good to see you, man. Happy New Year. Hey, look, the whole gang is in here. That is good to see. Give me a flag, man. Settle. What else we got here? Mochi have done some more, taken their toll again this year. I've always thought that you could actually do like a Logan's Run, like 2018 remake, just based on, you know, in Logan's Run, you know, there's that ceremony where all the people who reach a certain age, you know, have to basically be exterminated. Japan kind of has that with mochi, you know, and old people. Hey, Kikansha Thomas, I will, although you can already see that you called me an idiot once before, but maybe, hey, I will, did you delete that yourself? I was going to make that visible. Oh, it became visible all on its own, so there you go. That's because Give Me a Flake Man is a moderator, and he is here, so there you go. Yeah, The Crown was pretty good. Not many people know she's actually the Queen of New Zealand. I'm pretty sure even she doesn't know that. We do have her on our money. And Canada and, you know, all those other countries, but yes, she seems to be a lovely lady. The government is spending money to convert toilets from the squat washiki toilets to the western sitting yoshiki benjo. The Japanese western sitting toilets are the best toilets in the world. The squatting toilets are, well, they're better than Chinese toilets or sort of long drops in you know, not sewer connected western sort of countries or whatever, but not by much. I mean, seriously, people, like, they're usually kind of dirty. plus the fact that I cannot squat for longer than 20-30 seconds without like getting loss of circulation and cramps and stuff, and plus loss of balance, and that's not a place you want to lose your balance, or suffer seizures or cramp. So I've always avoided washki bench. I've been here 20 years and I avoid them. I know how to use them, and I have used them in a pinch, so to speak. Unintended pun there. But no, washki all the way, and they're aiming for the Olympics and all that sort of stuff. So yes, good to see that they're replacing those. UK, United Kingdom, has no friends anymore. They want to join the TPP. Yay! Well, I mean that'll be great in terms of it'll kind of redo. New Zealand's economy got devastated when Britain Brexited the Commonwealth when it joined the EU and had to cut itself off from New Zealand, which was entirely dependent on sending everything to Britain. So it's good for the New Zealand and Australia and those other countries in the TPP that want to trade with Britain. It might bring Canada back in, and that's a good thing. There again, it's kind of ironic that Britain's basically kicked everybody out, and now they kind of come back and kind of cap in hand and knocking on the door. But good for Japan. It means we're going to get all those great English imports, like not the food, the car. Okay, not the cars. I don't know. I'm sure there are good things that Britain exports that I would love to see here. I mean, language. I don't know. They already have that. There are British foods I like. There are fruit gums. They're kind of sweet. Cream teas. I quite like cream teas. Actually, British food is, I think, one of the best foods in the day up until about 1 p.m. After 1 p.m. it rapidly goes downhill, but it's actually pretty competitive. It's brunches and breakfasts. Some lunches, if you like light lunches, they do okay. Cornish pasties for lunch, cream tea for for breakfast. These are all very, very good things. The black sausage I actually dig. There are things I would like from Britain. Cheddar. I mean, I grew up eating cheddar. My French friends turn their noses up at my like for cheddar, but seriously, I can see good things from having Britain in the free trade zone with Japan and New Zealand and Australia. So it's interesting anyway. I mean, it's kind of a desperate move, but they don't really have much choice there. I'm surprised Phoenix 787 knows about Cornish pasties, and I am impressed. Big thumbs up there. And indeed, you went to one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants in Vegas and had you had Cornish pasties. Well, and the great thing about pasties, they're a little bit like okonomiyaki. You can put anything you want into them. I mean, I was in Cornwall. My brother-in-law is from Cornwall. I've been there surfing. They have excellent surfing, great beaches there, and they have like every type of pasty. Yes, shepherd's pie is British, but again, I'm pretty sure that they're deeply ashamed by that. Their fish and chips suck as well, by the way. New Zealand and Australia, we took a lot of their terrible food and improved it. Cornwall, we were in Bude, which is it's near the border with Devon, actually, on the Wales side. But it's good. It's where all the listening stations, all the spy stations and stuff are. We drove all the way along the coast there towards the pointy bit, but we were staying in Bude. Beauty. What else we got here? Fast track permanent residency is coming in. So again, Japan is becoming amazingly open to immigrants. It's good to know if you want to come here. It's really, really working. That said, they opened up the apprenticeship scheme for nurses in Vietnam, wanting to come and go under this apprenticeship training scheme where people have been treated like slaves and running away and sometimes murdering their bosses. And not one single person, when the system was opened up in Vietnam, applied for it. And I guess they knew better, and the system has such bad press. Another good sign that they have to do something about it. This is an interesting one. By the way, if you ever want to comment and you want me to notice, if you if you say @MarkHikoSimon, it'll pop up in orange and it will stand out, and my eyes will go to that comment. I can't read every single comment while I'm talking. I try to keep one eye on the comments, but it will stand out. If you want to ask me a question or say something to me or whatever, please put it with the @MarkHikoSimon. I will see it. President Moon, he is in the process of undoing the historic full and final resolution of the Comfort Women issue. Got to run, Hiko, but have a good rest of show. You'll actually have to teach an elementary day class tomorrow. Well, there we go. Yeah, thanks for the test there, Phoenix. That's very clever. So first week, April 7, Hanami, put it in your calendars now. Book your tickets, take your time off, word to your mother, all of that stuff. Word to the mother, actually. That's something that Maya corrected me on. I always thought that was like word to your mother, but it's actually word to the mother. It's an African American expression referring to word to the mothership, or the motherland, right? It's going back to... Anyway, tell your mum. That's what I would say. That's very literal, though. Maybe your mum wants to come. Who knows? And no, no one wants spotted dick, I'm sure. Nippon Culture Quest, good to see you. You'll make it to the Tokyo Hanami. That's awesome. That's awesome. So remember, make sure you are following updates from Phoenix 787, Victor, and myself. We're going to keep you posted. But this will be the place to come, and it will be awesome. Do Jericho, yes indeed. Hanami, be there or be square. Although it's kind of cool to be square at the moment. So be square and be there. That's what I would say. I wouldn't say be there or be square. I don't think they're mutually exclusive choices. I think you should be square and there. In fact, the square the better, if you ask me. So, comfort women. Oh god, that's another tricky one, isn't it? Well, so Japan and South Korea resolved the issue just before the president who resolved the issue was put in jail. And the new president, particularly left-wing presidents in Korea, they always like to bash on Japan because the right wing is associated with collaborators with the Japanese colonial authorities. Plus the fact that, of course, the former president who was put in jail, her father was, of course, a military dictator, right-wing military dictator, and was a member of the Japanese military and educated in Japan and loved Japan. So the fact that she did the deal with Japan after trying really hard to be a real dick to Japan for a long time to sort of prove that she wasn't like her dad, then she did this deal which was seen as selling these lovely old ladies down the river in terms of the Korean public. So now they're basically going and saying, hey Japan, you know that deal that we made where we promised this whole thing was over, you can shove it up your ass. Pretty much is what they're saying at the moment. And Japan's kind of like rolling eyes and throwing hands up in the air again, and you know, just to build up. They're kind of drawing it out. They're doing an investigation. How do we do this deal? Were all the comfort women consulted? Did they all consent to it? There aren't that many left. Remember, the average age of the comfort women right now, the survivors, the registered ones, is like 89 years old. There's like less than 40 of them left alive. But they're going to undo it, which means it's probably never going to get fixed. And frankly, the groups who opposed it, not all of them opposed it, but the groups who most vehemently opposed doing the deal were, you know, basically they don't want any deal with Japan. They want to do this to Japan, and as they're entitled to. You know, I mentioned this the other day. I have relatives who, you know, refused until they died to buy German products, for example. I didn't agree with them, but there again, they were alive during the war and they had their reasons, and well, I'm not going to tell them that you can't be angry at a whole nation, you know, if they did something that made you a victim of some sort. And you know, these people got it in spades, so they're entitled to be angry and they're entitled to not do a deal, but they shouldn't pretend that they want to do a deal, be disingenuous about it. Just say fuck you, seriously. I mean, they're allowed to. But instead, unfortunately, we're drawing it out. I mean, I think they actually want to, you know, get some measure of revenge or satisfaction by kind of messing with Japan about this, and that's really what they're doing. You know, Japan has, by the way, paid compensation in '65. Then they set up specifically for the comfort women in 1995. They set up a fund for this, and then they set up this third fund, this third compensation for this now. Each time with apologies, plus the Murayama apology in '95, the Koizumi apology in 2002. Abe was giving apologies with each one of the payouts. So there were apologies, there were money, but it's never quite the level that they really want. And frankly, you know, they really just don't want this resolved for them. They're 89, you know, and they were very upset at this deal being agreed. So it's going to be undone by the looks of it. Frankly, I would really like the two countries to move forward on this. I don't like the exploitation of these women for this issue politically. But it is what it is, right? You know, I mean, it's a situation that Japan created for itself. So, you know, this is all just part of that, part of that deal. I don't think it is unfortunate in terms of it really holds back improvement of relations between the two countries. But there again, you know, they don't have to forgive, and Japan, you know, can't really do much about what it's done. So, you know, and they can't, I think they've really genuinely done their best to try to resolve it. I don't think they've been insincere about it. But there again, you know, what can you do about it? So, yes, Kikanshu Thomas, by the way, wants to learn stuff. Speaking of Korea, suddenly the North is open to talking again. Well, they always want to talk. It's the old mafia thing. They sort of, you know, if you create enough noise and tension, it's the old extortion trick that then any sort of offer you make will sound much more reasonable afterwards. But, you know, yeah, it sounds like South Korea. By the way, again, left is usually more soft on North Korea. They're open to talks, maybe having a joint Olympic team, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's all good. Japan pretty much stayed out of all the talks, even when it was happening with Clinton and the Sunshine Policy. One, because North Korea wasn't really doing much for Japan, and actually it was arguably Japan's silence that got it some of its abductees back. So it actually paid dividends. Korea was trying to up the ante because they were hoping for a big payout from Japan. I don't really care. I'm still of the school that nothing really materially has changed. North Korea's had nuclear capability for a while. They've had the ability to hit Japan with missiles for a while. Japan's done pretty well just ignoring them, and I think that's what we should just continue doing. Personally, dude, Jericho, you're just gonna head off to bed. Have a good one. Have a good night there, and sleep well. Catch the rest of this later if you're interested. Hey, 49 star, good to see you. Konbanwa indeed. Happy New Year to everybody just joining who I haven't caught earlier. By the way, Henrik Weber, it's not an easy subject to deal with and not easy to solve. Well, I think it's impossible to resolve, actually. That's the conclusion I've come to on this. We're getting now into from next week, or from the week before. Yeah, there's a thing there on mask culture in Japan, the best ryokan in Japan, trying to get Japanese to pay better wages and stuff like that. Yeah, Kikanshu Thomas, you heard that North Korea launched a missile that can hit one of their own cities. Yeah, there was a test where one of the rockets misfired and it landed apparently, well, near a city, or hit a populated area. That's right. The Russians, that happened with the Soviets a lot as well. You know, they're obviously rushing to get those rockets done. Yeah, so the rest of these were done from the end of last year. In terms of stuff to look forward to next year, let's talk about this year. So next year, so this year now. Space tourism, I'm really looking forward to. Augmented reality becoming a thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of CES, but I'm very much looking forward to glasses that look like these, having screens inside them that I can, on the train, watch movies or read Twitter or just do what I want with a pair of glasses like these. The idea I'm hearing about, you know, of these induction-based sort of glasses and stuff like that, so that you don't need to put it over your ear, but you can hear, so you get sound and vision. You don't need a camera. I know that creeped a lot of people out with Google Glass, but I'm a big believer in Google Glass, so that is going to come back. CES is a consumer electronics show. It's the world's biggest consumer electronics gadget show in the world. It happens in Las Vegas, I believe, this week. The first week of January every year, and it kind of sets the tone for the cool gadgets for this next year, including by Japanese makers, so I always quite like that. So I think there's a lot of cool gadgets coming. I think a lot of voice-based stuff the voice-based computing is going to get very big. Cryptocurrency is going to continue to be big. We might see blockchain actually getting properly used rather than just, you know, illegal stuff and cryptocurrencies. We might actually be seeing it getting used properly for contracts and for other applications, peer-to-peer sort of file sharing. I can see a bunch of applications which aren't really being done right now. People can't really get their heads around it. AI and machine learning, I think we're going to have, I think we are within like a couple of years, I'm hoping, of having virtual assistants, like basically like a personal assistant that will, you know, book your flights for you, will do all this stuff, will basically follow you around, keep track of your appointments, do everything that a personal assistant would do for someone in a non-physical presence. That will be automatic, and we'll get all this other AI stuff helping us to basically do our jobs a lot better. Zen Music, my glasses are huge. Well, exactly, this is why I think these are the right proxy for what the for what Google, or for what these virtual AR glasses, augmented reality glasses, are going to be, because I think it's going to be a little bit big. You're going to put electronics into them, but it'd be nice if they look like this anyway. Widescreen indeed. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more stuff just before the robots all become sentient and take over. Watch Black Mirror if you want to understand that a little bit better. But until that point, it's going to be really fun. There's going to be a really brief little party period where work is going to be really, really fun, because you'd have machines helping you do all the stuff and become super productive. There'll just be that point where the machines will do the jobs better than us, and then we'll have to figure out what to do. But until that point, it'll be pretty cool, and we're pretty close to that. So yeah, there's all this cool stuff. But speaking for myself, I'll give you an update on my channel. I haven't been talking about that. I should get a shirt or something for it, shouldn't I? It's very cool, the site, www.mychan.tv. The splash page is there. The slicing for the graphics, for the user interface, I made a big deal about that. So mychan.tv. We've got a very, very nice interface, which is now all the slicing is completed, so we're now doing the back end. I've been using a bare bones prototype with no user interface at all, just checking the APIs to make sure that this can work for the better part of all of last year, actually. So now we're actually going to connect all the functionality and the API functionality of that prototype that I was working on last year to the user interface, and it's pretty cool. So the progress that we made since the last show is that the user interface is there, and it looks really, really cool. Lysander 45, please go and check out this one. If you don't like it, you can get to mychantv.com, which I think have the domain set up for. But yeah, the premise of the site, for those of you who haven't heard this before, is the old one that it's impossible to manage subscriptions, and some people want to watch YouTube to catch up with their subscriptions, to keep up with their subscriptions, rather than just go browsing randomly, which is also fun and is what most of us have to do nowadays. So I've just got this thing that just does two things. It lets you organize your subscriptions into groups of similar, anything that you like. You can just create these bundled channels for all your J-vloggers, all your comedies, all your Americans, all your, cooking, or you can thematically create bundles of channels, anything that you like. And you can just go and click, boom, one click, and it'll just autoplay. It'll be like watching TV. It'll become your customized TV channel of anything that you want to watch. It works. It's really cool. The interface is really, really cool. It'll be full screen, so the interface won't really matter when you're playing, but the organization interface is looking really, really good. And yeah, it'll let you, if you're in a situation like me where I've got more than 1,000 subscribed channels and it's completely unmanageable, I can't keep up with my subs. I don't know what people are posting anymore. I've just completely given up on keeping up with subscriptions. You'll get some power back over that. It's cool. Yeah, we're hopefully there. Exactly, Mr. Cordy Chep. You'll want hey, listen, Steve Miller, myself. I mean, you'll get nothing but the best channels, I think. If you, that's an excellent idea for a theme. So there we go. You've got 3K subs. Zenita Music. You've got 3K subs. I think the limit is like 2,000, but so you're right up there anyway. And it's exactly that point. The random order and shit, and missing subscriptions, like them not coming up in the stream or whatever, you just pick the bundles and we'll go and grab we've got the API all sorted out that you can go and grab the last 50 videos from everyone, stack it so it's always showing the newest one, and it's just going to be freaking awesome. At the moment it's just a splash page, but yes, I just have a massive forehead. It goes all the way, it actually is all the way back, it goes kind of here. 2018, iPS stem cells are being used by Shiseido to develop a hair regrowth thing, and even if I have it grown back around here, I do want to have extra hair on top because I don't like getting sunburnt on top. It gives me headaches and stuff like that. I'd fix it, but I'd probably keep it short like this. I actually have an okay shaped head, and it's actually really easy to look after. I actually quite like having it really short, but I would prefer to have it just a little bit. And by the way, there is stuff there. The whole thing is that there's no hair, it's just really, really thin, so yes, but I would prefer that. That would give me some better sun protection, so I'm going to get that. Am I Swedish? I am not Swedish. I am 3/4. I've done the family tree on all 4 of my grandparents. 3 of those 4 all go to Yorkshire. Oh, they all go to Northern England. Yorkshire, yeah, I mean, I know that Yorkshire, apparently that used to be was it the summer capital of the Roman Empire for a time, and after that it was basically the Norwegians came and colonized it, so there's a chance there that there's some very, very ugly Scandinavians. They probably sent them to Yorkshire as punishment, and they became people like me. But yes, it's North England. Definitely no Swedish, although I do like Ace and Face. Yes. Anyway, that is all of the in the summer sun protection seems necessary. It is, and it is a burden. When I was in Australia, I made some tracks. I made like 12 tracks, so I would like you guys to listen to each one of my loops and tell me which one I should make into a track next. So have a listen. Let me see. I think I plugged this in earlier. Let me just check that I've got this. And yes, I was just in Australia, of course, where it was summertime. So I've got these. Here are the tracks that I've got. So I've got like 13. So this is the first one. You can see on the side, by the way, you can see the chord key that it's in, Locrian, Gypsy, or whatever. But more importantly, you can see the BPM. So 120, which is like a walking BPM. 165 is basically drum and bass. 110 is like electro, fast hip hop. Below that, like 90, you're getting into hip hop. Below that, 80, you're getting into like reggae. Yeah, these are the loops, and tell me which ones you like. Oh, well, that is interesting. I think I need to take that out and plug that in. There we go. Enable audio input capture. It's a bit electro. That's the first one. I was going for kind of an electro thing, kind of a chiptune type thing. Next track is Bliss. I like drum and bass. This is good for like boxing. Hey Temiko. That's enough. What else we got here? Bit chill. 125. Kikachi Thomas, yes, I made these. This is the third one. Sounds like Coolio Gangsta's Paradise, really? So when you say that one, say which one it was. I'll put the tracks up. So the first one was Space Invasion, second one was Bliss, this is Chill Out Room. Tell me which ones you like and I will make them into, I'll decide which order to make my tracks. There's a bit of a lag, I think 25 seconds. I've already made this one into a track, did I? Oh, okay, this is good. Hey Robert. Okay, new track. There's not very much to this beat. I asked my son what I should do with the beat and he said just keep it like that. Which is a little bit minimal. Why not do a minimal every now and then? Let's get to Kikachi, Chill Out Room. Yeah, Kit Crawford, I'm a drum and bass person myself actually, so thank you for liking that one. This one, by the way, Underlying Power. I think I stuck for titles. Next one's drum and bass, so get ready for it. Okay, so Kit Crawford, do you like drum and bass? I like drum and bass. Let's do some drum and bass. People seem to like Bliss, that's good, the second one. In fact, I like drum and bass so much I made another one. A little bit of Feel the Sunshine. I like that square sine tune up a bit. Tanaka Murray, you gotta tell me which one. Another drum and bass one. I was feeling the drum and bass. I've got a couple here. 175, 175, 175. That means drum and bass. 1275. I don't understand what that means. A bit more chill. 275. No. How about no? So which loops do you like? Keep telling me. About like 3 more after this. Can. Twitch, second last one. Was thinking a bit basement jacks. It's kind of basement jacked, right? One more to go. Mr. Quarty Chip, you should come and take it. Pretty cool, I quite like this. And final one. Anyway, that's all of them. So we're going to mix of Bliss. Let's have a look. People really seem to like the earlier ones. I saw some people say Bliss, Chill Out Room, and Velvet Rug. So look out for those tracks. I will make them, and I will make them. So I'll share them on SoundCloud. You can download them and use them on your own videos, or just chill out, or do whatever with them. And yeah, that will be pretty awesome. I have to go to sleep. I'm going to get up early in the morning, so I'm going to keep it short tonight. Hot Wired Chip, and that last one. Hot Wired Chip. Was there one called Hot Wired Chip? Hot Wired Chip. Oh, there it is. Yeah. What was that one? So drum and bass, basically. Thank you, girlfriend. Well, maybe I'll focus on that. What about the inappropriate videos in the Aokigahara forest? The suicide, the what's his face? Don't give a shit, dickhead guy. Yeah. Yes, idiots will be idiots. I should have recorded that last jam. Well, I did on this video. I will play around. I'll make a track of that. I actually made Electro Pulse, which was the first one I wanted to make, which is funny because no one actually raised that one, although it's the first one that I picked out. I guess I'll do my outro going through the Electro Pulse track which I recorded. I'll play around with that. And Jumper, yeah, I quite like Jumper as well, actually. Well, I really like Twitch. I like the Basement Jaxie sort of thing of that. But yes, Kikansha Thomas, everyone can see your blog comment, and yes, indeed. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go do my outro with Electro Pulse, and you're going to see. There's their music. There are people like that in every country, unfortunately, and I would like to build walls around all those individual people. But yes. So here's the outro. Thank you for joining me. Happy 2018. All success to all you guys. Look out, because there's going to be open beta. You're all going to be allowed in to come and use my Chan TV, and it's going to be awesome. And I'd love to get your feedback on how we get it working. So look out for that. There'll be more updates on that coming up really soon. It's very, very cool. And make them all into new tracks. I intend to do that Tai Nakamura, and I'm very much looking forward to see Tai Nakamura's new track. That is going to be awesome. And yeah, so thanking all of you, and here's the outro track. So enjoy it. So. Oops. Forgot to flip it to the next track. There we go. that's the track. That's kind of cool. Thank you for joining me. That's the end of the show. I'll see you again next week. Happy 2018. Kakitano. Peace. Look out for new tracks and more cool stuff coming soon. And thank you for hanging around, Kit Corford, listening to the end. I appreciate it. Okay, bye.